Now, coming up, the latest auto sales reports from Tesla and General Motors showing the demand for electric vehicles might be back on the rise. Tesla's deliveries came in better than Wall Street anticipated. General Motors also seeing its EV deliveries increase by 40% compared to a year earlier. So let's discuss it with Stephanie Valdez Streaty. She's the Director of Industry Insights at Cox Automotive. Stephanie, thanks so much for being here. I want to start on Tesla because there's been this question, as you know, for many years about whether or not this is a stock that is going to move off of a story that the CEO tells or the business fundamentals. We're seeing it move off of these fundamentals. Is that indicative of a new era for Tesla?
Yeah, I think Tesla is navigating the waves, right? They're between these growth waves. And I think in terms of for automotive sales, right, they haven't had any new products except for the Cybertruck, which is pretty low volume. And if we're looking at this Q2, as you reported globally, in the US, we're probably anticipating a 15% decline in sales. They're still a dominant player. And as you know, they're really positioning on AI robotics. They're going to have their unveiling of the robotaxi in August. So it'll be interesting to see how Wall Street reacts to that.
And I'm interested, too, in the fact that you even bring up the AI and robotics piece. For a name like Tesla, there have been some folks who've come on our show and said they want Tesla to really just dive deeper into owning that they are a car company, and others saying no, they need to hold on to the AI of it all. Which do you think is a more successful route for the company?
Well, I think right now they need to focus on both, right? Because the AI robotics, there's a lot of challenges with it, whether it's like safety concerns, regulations, and they're still a dominant player in the EV marketplace. They just need to have some more product, right? And they had talked about having an affordable EV rollout. I think next year, but I'm not sure the timeline on that. And that's going to be key for them to keep focusing on their product. But I think they're definitely prioritizing AI and robotics as well.
Yeah, you mentioned some more affordable EVs to come down the road. What do you think that could do for the consumer uptake and adoption of EVs?
Yeah, I think that's huge. We've been doing an EV path to adoption study for many years. And as you can imagine, affordability is always the top barrier. And so I think if you think about more options for consumers, if we can have more affordable EVs, that's going to be a game changer. Right now, the average transaction price for an EV is close to $50,000, $54,000. And so that's still, that price premium over an internal combustion engine. And so I think if we can start to get more of these affordable EVs, that's really going to help. One of the things I wanted to mention for, providing more affordable is used EVs. As we start to see more of those enter the marketplace, I think that's going to give consumers some more options at different price points.
And that brings up the point about competition. I'm curious, in 10 years, do you think that the EV space is going to be crowded to a degree that Tesla just feels like maybe a drop in the bucket compared to sort of the market leader in the space?
Yeah, I think that's the challenge with Tesla, right? They've been the dominant player. They still have the market share, right? Potentially could go below 50% this quarter, but you have all the traditional automakers having a lot of product in the pipeline. And so I think there's a lot of competition, and it's all about what consumers like. They like something new, right? Something new, fun, affordable. And so unless Tesla can start to get more product, they're going to start to have other automakers eat into that market share.
Yeah, and in your notes that you sent over to us that consumer uncertainty about the economy and the election could potentially be a headwind, and I was so fascinated by that. Explain to me how the upcoming election could impact EV sales.
I think one of the things that consumers are thinking about, right now we have the Inflation Reduction Act, right? There's incentives for consumers. There's 7,500. Not all vehicles are eligible, but consumers can get that if they lease a vehicle. So I think there's some uncertainty about, should I buy? What if, there's something with the IRA gets eliminated? There's not the incentive anymore. So I think consumers are a little bit kind of like waiting it out to see what I should do depending on the outcome of the election. So I think that's one of it as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, Stephanie. That was Stephanie Valdez Streaty. She's the Director of Industry Insights at Cox Automotive.